What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another special episode of the Crane Kicks Lex podcast. Of course, I've got Jess with us, got Dylan with us, and I don't know that we need introductions, but they do it for royalty all the time. Now, introducing all league first team selection, holder of the Golden Boot, holder of the record for most goals scored in a single season for Cambridge Super League, as well as Players Shield holder and league champion, Her Majesty Catherine Berry. Joining us, Kat. What's up?
What an introduction. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been dying to have, really all of you guys on because you're all just awesome. And plus, we can't stop talking about last season. It's all we ever talk about. We were just like, hey, how was your day? I'm like, I don't really care, actually. I just want to tell you about the time we won the Cambridge Super League Championship.
Yeah.
We were like, whoa, rude. No, how's the off season been treating you? I know we're starting to gear up for the actual season. How have things been going?
Yeah, it's been good. It was nice to have a little time to go home. It's always a good thing when you have a short off season because you made it far in playoffs. So it went quick, but can't complain because like you said, I feel like it was awesome when people were like, oh, how's your season? What are you home for? Getting to, tell everyone that we won. We're like, oh, you won the tournament or we won everything. It was just the coolest thing ever to kind of go home with that and back to all of our little training groups and everything I know. And just to have so many of us coming back was so nice to have that kind of security and to know last year when I was walking in July, it was new faces everywhere, new staff, didn't know anyone, didn't know the city. So to be coming back to kind of a known commodity and all my friends and the community now that I feel like I'm a part of is just really special and exciting.
Besides taking Sally swimming for the first time, what was your highlight of this off season?
Yeah, definitely just being at home by the water is a huge thing for me. That's the biggest thing I miss in Lexington is having the ocean or
Yes.
when I was in Chicago, we had the lake, which is basically an ocean. So that aspect, but just getting the downtime to be with my family and kind of have no schedule is so huge. And I got to do a little bit of traveling, but nothing crazy, and just hanging out with my family and seeing all my siblings and getting to just be back kind of in that normal person routine for a little was nice.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is we need to crowdsource a ginormous lake that feels like the sea for you and the rest of the team, and we'll just dub it Lexington Sporting Club Women Lake.
Honestly,
and that'll be it.
I feel because our whole team is from the East Coast and California, pretty much. That that would really make a lot of our lives
Perfect. That's what we'll do. Hand out everybody special LSC beach towels with the gold medal symbol on it and everything. It'll be a whole thing.
We'll do a shovel giveaway at our next game, and then we'll all dig the lake with that. We'll do a fundraiser.
Before we dig,
let's go.
We have to call 811.
811.
Oh, yeah. You didn't even know what 811 was before that match, which means that match actually did its job.
It worked. That's true.
Now Dylan knows. That's sick. That's so awesome.
You can check the backside of your new scarf.
Yes. Always there as a reminder. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, off season's so important to recharge, but like you said, it's kind of nice, even though it's short. You got to celebrate. Were you just walking around periodically with your medal on or anything and be like, hey guys, just it's champion. I'm a champion now.
Forgot I had this on me.
Yeah. Whoops.
Check
that would have been the best.
On the way home and be like, oh, sorry, I have to take off the medal.
Painted all your shoes gold. They're like, what's that about? No big deal. I'm just the Golden Boot winner.
Gold flip flops, yeah.
I love that. I think we were talking about this right beforehand. Are you kind of a big reader?
I am a big reader, yeah.
Yeah. I'm a librarian, and we're always talking about books and stuff together. We have several series that we chat about. Which your book right now that you're working on?
Okay, I actually just finished one today. Probably before this. I just read James this week. I'm a little late to the party on that one. I feel like people were reading it a year ago. So I just finished that one, and then last week I just read Remarkably Bright Creatures, which I'm also late to. I feel like,
but
I've been working through yeah, just some of the ones that I feel like everyone's been talking about. And my mom and my brother and I, my whole family is pretty big readers, so we'll just like rotate books through us. And so I just kind of like take the collection and we pass them along through all of us until we've read them all. So those are the last 2 that I've worked on. And then I actually just was thinking tonight, I'm like, I have to pick a new one because I have to start another one like as soon as I finish the last one because I got to keep
the same way.
going. So I'll have to start
that.
another one tonight after this. So TBD, I haven't decided what I'm going to start yet.
You can join. You can join our group and do Dungeon Crawler Carl. That's like our group's like book.
That was sick.
Yeah.
It's
Have you heard of Dungeon Crawler Carl?
No.
It's the wildest ride. It's kind of insane, but in the best way.
You got to get on it now too.
I'm going to read after this and read about that. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. You got to get in on it now because they're doing like a TV show coming up like in the following
which
years,
is like my favorite. If I can read a book and then like watch the movie or the TV show after, I'm all about it. Although recently I've been doing that and I watch the movies and I'm like, I hate this. And I think it's because they change them so much and because I'm reading them like and they're out. So, but it gets me started reading them.
I feel that. My wife is always pointing out that Remarkably Bright Creatures is out on Netflix. And I'm like, well, we haven't read the book. We cannot watch that. We have to read the book first. So just pretend that doesn't exist for the moment.
A little gap because I watched the movie the night I finished the book last week. And then I was like, they changed everything. Like, this is not.
Oh, man. Okay.
They started like the book starts. There's like 100 pages of the book that they just cut out at the beginning of the movie. I was like, how do you do this?
Interesting.
So
that always hurts my heart as a reader, but I understand why. I get it, but it still stinks, So I'm always trying to convince people to read the book. I'm like, that's the good stuff. Come on.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey,
go ahead, Dylan.
I was gonna say before we get into like the talk of like this season and what's upcoming. Can you give us a little bit of the background about like the celebrations that you guys had? We got a little bit from Allie, but that was like still like in the moment. Like, were you guys like out every night partying? Like, how intense was it?
The club had planned like the night of at the stadium party for us. And it was like an either way, like just celebrating. We hadn't really gotten to like fully celebrate the Players Shield just because the turnaround was so quick. So they had that like planned out for all of us no matter what happened. And obviously it just ended up, it was either going to be like a quick night or it's going to be a long night depending on obviously how that game went. And then also the game went how it did and we were all there till midnight anyway. So it was a fun night. They did like a t-shirt like press thing for all of us. So we got like,
oh man,
that's cool.
Like this one has all of us on it. They did a Players Shield and a Champions one that they just were like pressing live. The poor people that work the store, like what heroes were like in the line till 3 a.m, like beer in one hand, heat press in the other. So they
got progressively more crooked.
Yeah, probably. I think I was one of the last ones through the line. Does it look? Yeah, so they did that, and we did like the big. I think you've probably seen like all the pictures and stuff. They did like the backdrops and that kind of stuff. And honestly, that was like the biggest celebration, only because like our off season, the clock started like right after that, so everyone was kind of like getting out of town and getting to the next thing. A couple of us like for the next few days that were in town had like we just like kept hanging out, and obviously there were a handful of the girls that were leaving, so. Just to kind of like celebrate them and spend as much time together as possible. But it was a quick turnaround, honestly. So it wasn't anything crazy. I know we've joked that we'll have to throw like a horse parade at some point, the way that people do like the duck boats or something. Like we got to get like from Bill's Farm and like go down Main Street or something with them. But we'll keep that in the back pocket for December, maybe if us and the men's team can pull something off. So
Year of the horse.
Allie also mentioned, maybe getting a star tattoo. Is that something you guys discussed further?
I was just thinking about this the other day. So, like, full transparency, don't have a single tattoo, not a tattoo person. But the other day I was like, people did say that, and I haven't heard anything about it, but I do wonder if it will come back up. Like, it's one of those where, like, waiting for the day we're on an away trip and we're really bored, and someone's like, what about that horse tattoo we were going to get, or that star or whatever? I haven't heard anything of it. just us talking about it right now might re-inspire somebody. So can't write it off completely. There was talk of like girls who were like, I don't like tattoos, but I'll get it like on my big toe or something, like on the sole of my foot, so you can never see it, or like just to like be a part of it. So I don't know.
Yeah, you can always get like a little one, like like on your, just in somewhere inconspicuous.
Or like lip tap maybe or something.
I love the vibe of the bottom of the foot, because imagine like somebody's like, do you have any tattoos? And you're like, actually one. You pull off your sock and you're like, check this out. And they're like, what do you have a green star? What is that? Actually, it's because I'm a champion. Yeah. First off, recognize my champion.
There you go. Wow. So obviously outside of winning the championship and like all the excitement there, do you have another favorite moment from the season? Obviously that's like the pinnacle, but like if you could pick another memory.
That's a good question. I'll have to think.
Good question, Jess.
Yeah, that is a great question. I feel like some of them that like come to mind, I feel like just like all of our like home wins, especially early in the season, like the first win we had at home, both the Brooklyn and the Dallas games, like early in the season, that kind of like were the first taste of like being in our community and like with everyone and celebrating those games. Like we still talk about that 6-1 Dallas game like all the time. It comes up for like different reasons. I feel like that was like just like such a surreal first moment, and I kind of feel like for me that was like feeling like I started to get my feet under me as a pro, like really getting minutes and being trusted and believed in here. And so I think like early on, some of those moments, even like that Fort Lauderdale opener last year with like the crazy game where we fought back, just like the first taste of like, this is what this team's going to be about this year. And then even into like when we beat Jacksonville 4-2 in the fall, like the stepping stones of like, we had some of those struggles of the ties and then like being able to come out on the other side of them. And then I'm trying to think from the spring too. I feel like in the spring, honestly, like beating Carolina at Carolina, like that was a huge like moment for us. I feel like that was like just a huge like team result. Same with the Jacksonville at Jacksonville win in the spring. Like, so in terms of like soccer memories, I think like just some of those moments, and like I think more than anything, like you remember the goals and the results and like all of that stuff, but just like seeing like the little things of your teammates like gutting out a play, or you know, being side by side with like looking over and seeing Addie next to me and knowing like we were like defending together, or attacking together, or whatever it is. And like those little moments with the team in a game where you're like up a goal like that is like the stuff that I think is so special with this group, because you look around and everyone's doing something selfless. And I think that that's like the coolest feeling about being a part of this team.
Piggybacking off Jess's question, do you have a favorite goal from the whole season?
Ooh.
That's a good
because I
question.
mean, we can count. You scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, so you scored a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the one at DC, like,
yes,
like one of the more memorable goals of my career, just in terms of like, I don't want to call it like an uncharacteristic, but it's just different than a lot of the other goals that I've scored. So like that would be in the running for sure. I think the playoff goal, just because the moment, like the playoffs against Dallas, to kind of ice that game, and for it to be like a towering kind of header like that, like just and to celebrate that with everyone. My volley against Tampa, I just like came across that clip the other day. That was probably, I think that was maybe the first goal I had scored on the road. So like just like that feeling too. And then I'll just never forget the first one, like right in front of you guys, like, you know, in that first moment, get us up for it to be a game winner, like that kind of like feeling. So those are like some that just come to the top of my head.
Yeah. Sounds like you're a lot like us. We can't like decide. They're all too good. And rattle up all of them. It's just, man, replays in my head. I know like all the ones from that game against Tampa, the pups on the pitch game, when you came out and you just started punishing them out of nowhere. Like I like leaned over to them and I was like, did somebody say something about Sally? Like what's happening? Like, she's kind of like taking it to him now. Yeah, right. They're like, we don't like dogs anyway. And you're like, oh, now I'm gonna have to score on you like 15 times.
Like that.
Yeah, like, come on now. I love it. I love it. You know, thinking about, this season, and, it's coming up quick. It's next week. What's something that you're looking forward to about this season? What's kind of like in your mind, because you achieved a lot last season. And so with all of that achievement, like what now is like, man, this would be kind of cool.
I think it's just like the consistency element, like being able to do it again. And I think that
Mhm.
that's like the biggest challenge also, but something that like has always been something I've hung my hat on in my career is like I don't want to be like a one season wonder. I don't want to have scored those goals and then like not be able to follow it up. And I think just for me, it's like continuing to find new ways to be a threat and to find new ways to contribute, whether it's scoring, defending, assisting, any aspect of the game. And I think having the year we did last year, like, yes, it builds pressure, but I also think it gives us a great opportunity to like continue to show why we deserved the things that we achieved last year. And so I think for me, it's just being able to come back with so many of my friends and the same teammates and have the chance to go show like how consistently good we can be and how much better even we can get from last year.
Well, and along those lines, because that's one thought I've had is you guys just absolutely crushed it, did amazing. And I feel like it's a strength to keep as much of the roster as we did because all the other teams, they had a lot of roster changes and so they're kind of figuring out how they play together, how they like work. Whereas you guys like you guys it's like we're all like we know how we
Together.
all work
Yeah.
and like we know you guys are a cohesive team. And so do you feel like I'm trying to think of how to word it. Obviously, I feel like it's a strength, but also we're not going to technically be playing the same teams that we did last season. So in that sense, the strategy is a little different because they're going to have different strategies, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm asking, but I feel like that's kind of a question.
I get what you're at. You're like basically like thinking of who we are and the fact that like we're a known quantity, like you're a known quantity to each other, but also a known quantity to the rest of the league. Like, is it a matter of you kind of hold true to who you all are, or are we going to see like the next evolution of you all and these differences start to shine from last season into this? Is that right, Jess? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
and how that might be going against teams that have made a lot of changes.
Yeah. I think that like two things to that. Like one, as much as it is like the same group every year when you start in preseason and come back in, like it is a new start still. And yes, there's things that we didn't have to go over, but we still do have some new players and it is a new group and a new year. So there will always be kind of like those growing pains of getting back into it at times. But like you said, our strength is so many of us know our jobs. So we're not necessarily wasting as much time on the teaching element. And it's more of like just continuing to push us to get better. So I think, like you said, there's an evolution of us continuing to improve. And then there's also, yes, the challenge of every other team's only going to get better too. So I think it's how can we continue to evolve our game, but also not get complacent. And I think that last year, like we had that hunger of wanting to make Lexington a winning club and wanting to achieve things for the first time in Lexington. And like for us, the challenge is going to be finding other ways to continue to have that same desire to win and to be able to fuel that. Because like a team like Carolina, for example, like coming into this year, like they're going to be gunning for everyone. Obviously, like they weren't able to win a trophy last year and they were a great team and they came really, really close. And like everyone who's played sports or followed sports knows how bad that hurts and you know how much that can motivate a team. So like we're going to have the challenge of the fact that we were successful last year and having to find new motivators and new ways to continue to push our game to higher levels and to expect more from ourselves and new desires. Because you saw it with Tampa last year, like they had an amazing season, brought a lot of their players back, and then obviously struggled a lot last year. And so it can be a blessing, but you don't want to let it become a curse either. So I think it's just never being satisfied in that.
So, we're alluding to this upcoming season, and this upcoming season is different from the last season and, the season before that, where it's shortened. We're moving away from the European schedule. We're getting in line with the other American leagues. Kind of, what's your thought on moving away from the European schedule, and how is the team preparing for this shortened season?
Yeah, it's obviously just kind of like a weird thing that we're going through, and there's no kind of like you're seeing with MLS is going to transition. There's the other way, like there's no like perfect way to do it. Obviously, like on one hand, like it's a little bit weird and it's unfortunate, like we don't get the full season to kind of like enjoy our championship.
Mhm.
But on the flip side of that, like we have the opportunity to win 2 championships in 1 year, and that's like a huge thing to play for too. So I think just like approaching it like that and knowing that again, there's like more history to be written and that there's more hardware and there's like this kind of light at the end of the tunnel quickly. So I think just knowing that we have that to play for and being able to see like we have another off season coming in 5 months at this point. So some of the challenges of our regular calendar for both the men's and women's USL, like it's a long season, and that can wear on you. And I think even in the midpoint of this year, there were times where like our team just kind of like was tired and it's hard to continue to push through. And so I think for this year, it's just approaching it as not getting ahead of yourselves, but also knowing that like you can empty the tank and give everything. And then we're going to have another chance to reset here. So just kind of looking at it that way. And like I said, to compete for another championship in December is exciting and that'll come quick. So every game will count and be big, but also that's the same in this league as last year. I mean, it came down to the last day in the last game last year. So no different than what we're used to.
I love that. That's like so interesting because that's a perspective I hadn't really considered, that you would, be able to essentially go all out in this shortened season instead of being like, oh, we got to like kind of have a little bit of load management because then we got to come back in the spring and then finish things out, which of course, like you said, you still have, you're coming back after that, but it's different, right? Going into this one, you're like 14 games. Let's just go. Let's just go do what we can do and everybody give it 1,000,000%. And, not that you guys don't, but I could see where that would be a little bit of weight off your shoulders as far as knowing like, okay, we're not trying to play, a marathon out right now. We're trying to get this sprint taken care of. And, with you all being such a cohesive unit, that's cool. And I feel like, from a fan perspective, I think everybody feels like, all right, this is it. Like we got a really solid chance of doing what you just said, like being the club to win it twice in the same calendar year, which would be absolutely insane. And I can't wait to buy the scarf and the shirt and the hat and everything.
And the kit and everything.
All the above. Yeah.
Would you say that, because of our success this past season and, this shortened fall season, it's almost like a continuation of this season. And it's like, we had the winter break going into the spring season. So now it's kind of like, oh, you have summer break and we're still the same team as last year. We're just rolling through.
Yes and no, like, yeah, because we do have so many of the same personnel. And I do think like for the fans and everything, like it will feel like a very similar feeling. Like you could blink and it could have been a game in April and it probably won't be much different. But I do think like I touched on a little, like I was talking about it with one of our coaches this week, like you just can't get ahead of yourself either and feeling like, and just kind of like not enjoying the continuity, but also not letting it get you ahead of yourselves. Like we still do have new players to fold in and we still want to continue to like close gaps and build on things and find ways where maybe we could improve a little bit on things that we were doing in the spring. And so I think it's like a balance of enjoying it, but also still finding like fine tuning and knowing that we're still new like everyone else and we're still starting our season and we still have a lot of learning to do and kind of striking a balance between those two.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Going into this season is definitely unique. That's for sure. That is 1,000,000%. And you touched on like some of the challenges and opportunities of switching to this new schedule. Overall, is it like a positive amongst players, or did players kind of get settled into that European schedule and are like, I'm going to kind of miss that?
I honestly think it was like a really big 50-50. Like I think people have strong
Mhm.
opinions both ways. And I honestly think there were always going to be like such pros and cons to both. And so I think like
Mhm.
inevitably you could pick apart a reason to do either.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think like the biggest convincers to flip it to the US like NWSL style calendar is to line up with the men to some degree. Although more importantly, I think it's just like get fans in seats, not be playing those December games and wondering if we're going to be able to clear the
Mhm.
snow like we were last year. I think they
Yeah.
want to attract more teams, and part of the pushback from some of the like interested markets in Super League was that, you know, we can't introduce a team in these northern markets where it's going to be brutally cold and we're going to have to figure out how to train the team in November, December, January, February, March, etc. So I think just like those aspects of it make sense. I think like it was nice to have summer as your break time, but also I think people would make the same argument. It's nice to have the holidays. So again, I think like everyone has reasons they like and don't like it. And on the whole, it's just one of those things where I feel like it happened kind of in a good way, and that it was just like, this is what's happening. There's not really going to be a debate, and we can complain about parts of it or we can be excited about parts of it, but we just got to keep moving. And I think that was like the pro of how it was sort of just like announced, this is happening. Like we found out pretty shortly before kind of all that.
Mhm.
So it wasn't like there was tons of time for people to be like debating whether or not they liked it, which is probably a good thing.
That's always been a hot topic just in USL circles in general, like for the men's side, the women's side, everything. And it's so funny, like just the discourse going round and round and round, which it's funny because like it's always like the teams that play in Florida or like California or Texas, or they're like, what's the big deal? Like they do it in Europe. And I'm like, well, like an English winter is a little bit different than a Minnesotan winter. So like there's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Two different tiers.
Like managing players in the US versus in Europe, that you have to consider like our summers are also different than theirs. Like a Lexington July day is different than a July day
It's
in
true.
London. So it's like a different wear and tear of players playing through the climates as well, that you have to kind of like always keep in mind. Maybe like the
100%.
FIFA RSTP is not taking into account always when it's done in like a European study or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point on that as well, for sure.
So as you're preparing for matches, do you have any specific, and this is something we like to ask all the players we interview, but do you have any superstitions or a specific routine you have to do on game days?
Yeah, it's funny. So Taylor Almer and I did the press conference before the championship, and they asked us about this, and she was like, no, I don't really have anything. And I was like, I'm pretty superstitious. Like I like started listing. She's like laughing at me. I would say I'm like routine oriented, I guess more so than superstitious. Like it's not like, oh my God, if I didn't do this today, like the game's ruined. But I feel like when something's working and we're doing well, I just kind of keep doing those things. And especially when we're home and I feel like I'm in control, like to get up, drink my coffee out of the same glass. Like I usually have the same breakfast, kind of like go through my day the same way, eat the same meals. Last year, I was like sleeping in the same pajamas the night before every game, like little things that just like that you feel like
superstitious.
Yeah, that's full blown.
I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear. This is just routine. This is not
but it's
routine.
like more of like, okay, if I scored 3 games in a row and I wore those PJs, then like I'm gonna wear those. Like it's more of like that than like. Yeah. And then if like we lost, like I'll switch it up. It's kind of the same. Like
I got change.
You probably can notice it sometimes. I change my hair like. If we've done well for a few games, like I'll keep it the same. And then like, if I feel like we need like a vibe change or I need a vibe change, like I switch it up. So like, even though like elements of it are similar, I feel like I kind of like let things go. And some people are like, I have to put this shoe and this sock on and wear this exact same thing. Like and I'm not like that level, but just more of like kind of have like patterns of things that I do, especially like in sequence as the season ebbs and flows, I would say.
So on that note, are we going to get another iconic sweater for the beginning of the season? Because the one,
honestly,
because I know
we're about to sit here and
oh no,
put in our orders.
I didn't start something.
No, I mean,
or just wear the same one.
Calling my sister and inspiring her to make me more clothes.
Yeah, I mean, or
thing.
just Or just wear the same one as a.
No, the amount of times that, speaking of superstitious, like my mom and my sister are probably like tenfold what I am. So the amount of times that they're like, you just wear the sweatshirt again, and I'm like, I can't wear the sweatshirt like 10 times in a row. Like people are gonna be like, okay, like this is excessive. I'm like, we'll get it and we'll all be like on the same page, but like people around the league are just gonna be like, what does she think this sweatshirt is? And I'm like, you don't understand. So like even I think the championship in the semi, I brought it with me and it was like in my bag, even if I didn't wear it, just because I was like in the stadium is like a superstitious thing. And so we talked about doing something else. I don't want to spill, I guess, because maybe we'll try to make it come to fruition this week. But we talked about coming up with some other stuff for this year. So I'll have to put the pressure back. My sister Caroline made that, and we're both like pretty creative, but she's like very talented and super creative with all of that stuff. She works at a D1 school doing like their photography, graphic design, and then she's also just like crafty and makes like, she can knit and crochet and sew and like just do like all of the things. So every time I need to figure something out, I'm like, hey Caroline, any chance you want to do this tomorrow and like mail it to me? Like she made Sally the matching bandana that we wore at Pups at the Pitch. Like it matched the fabric from the front of my thing, like just stuff like that. Man. And I'm like, hey, how many of that left? Can you send me that? And she lives in Connecticut, so she's not like close by to do it for me, but they are also all about it. So yeah.
So all I'm hearing is we got to get Leslie on the phone and get a collab with your sister and just get every fan in the stands a shirt inspired off the design, and we'll just wear it for our
I did see that last year. I'm like, you could probably make like a print version of it and just put it on like a crew neck and then like do it as like a giveaway or something too would be cool. Or you could make like a generic pattern. It would be cool. We'll have to like
be wearing that
tag Leslie in this part of the show.
We gotta make that happen. Texting Leslie now. No.
Maybe I'll just have Caroline would make her own side storefront. That would probably make them mad, but
nah, it's all good. It's all good. It'll be all good. I love that about the superstition though, because like I've interviewed a lot of players over the years, and they're always on one side or the other. Either it's like, what are you talking about? 100%. No, I just do whatever I feel like doing that day, and then I go play soccer, and then like you have people that are at least some level of superstition, like I mean I eat the same bowl of oatmeal every time before a game, or like Charlie Maychel, I remember interviewing him and he's like, it had to be the shoes, and if the shoes did me dirty I had to get rid of the shoes and it had to be a new set of shoes. And I was like, I get that. I went through a little phase like that where like I was wearing these certain Sambas and then we would lose and I'm like, Sambas are cursed, going to the Gazelles now. Samba's got to go in the trash now. I did not throw them away. Too expensive.
Just don't wear them back to the game or something.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, you wore this. My mom's always in the same seat, and she'll be like, I can't sit next to people, even if it like I want to sometimes, just because I need to sit in my seat, and it's lucky. Like I'm like, okay, whatever you have to do.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, I love that.
We'll joke
like
with people,
family members, because of superstitions before. Like I've had series of my career where it's like, oh, brother or sibling or grandparent isn't allowed to come for a while because last time they came we lost or whatever it is. So definitely a little.
Sorry, Grandma, you can't come.
The last LSC game, Jess wasn't sitting with us, so we told her she can't sit with us anymore because we just won. So Jess is no longer sitting with us.
We scored when she came back over.
Yes.
I know. I just wanted to make that joke.
If anything, we proved that Jess needs to sit next to us.
That's true. I mean. Or we'll do that with like if friends come to games and we do over like that just means you have to come. You have to come to every game now.
Yeah.
Literally. No, literally. I think the game we played Dallas last year that we won was like, it was like the first responder game or something. We were like telling them, you guys are going to have to come back. They like bought the fire truck. We're like, we're going to have to bring everything back, run this back next week. Sorry. Like, got to do the same stuff.
Whatever it takes for that LSC win. Yeah, we need it to happen. That's awesome.
You mentioned just like very briefly earlier about like being a pro in the Super League. It was just like a very short sentence you mentioned. So can you describe your transition from the NWSL to the Super League, what that was like?
Yeah, I think like my story is like a good kind of example for a lot of players, and I like to share it because I was playing for the same coach exactly in Chicago at the end of my time there. And then when I came to Lexington, and in Chicago, I just like couldn't break through. I couldn't get minutes. I couldn't get on rosters as much as I wanted to. Like, didn't get the opportunities that I wanted. Like, started there as a trialist, earned my contract and things like that. But it just like was a frustrating experience because I never felt like I really was able to like get the opportunity that I felt like maybe I deserved. And then I came to Lexington and then find out like I'm going to come down and that Mac is also leaving Chicago and going to take over as the head coach in Lexington. And so that was like initially when I heard that, I was like, ooh, like, is that a good thing for me? Like, I didn't know at the time, I didn't know Mac like super well in Chicago because I'm this young rookie, like out of college, like, and I'm like, does he not like me? You know, you never know. It could be like management, coaching staff, just other personnel decisions that go into it. So many things. And then I come to Lexington and like am able to earn the role that I was last year and playing for the exact same coach. And so like I often share this with my teammates because it's like you just never know. Like your circumstances are so much bigger than whatever you feel like it is in soccer. And so I think like for me, it's easy to point fingers and be like, the coach hates me, my situation sucks, like so-and-so, they just like more than me, they want to do this, whatever it is. And like, I think I like to just share that as an explanation of like, when you put your head down and work hard, like eventually you'll end up in the right place. And maybe it was like a blessing in disguise that put me on the path to get to Lexington and end up here and win those championships and get to play the role I did last year and like have like the best year of my career and be like around people and meet friends and be in a community that like just appreciates me and like has brought out the best in me. And so I think like being able to have that experience in Chicago, which was like the hardest 6 months of my life, and then turn it around and get the reward of coming to Lexington last year. And like at the time, like leaving Chicago, it was hard. I didn't have a ton of options. And, you know, Lexington calls and I'm like, ooh, they were not very good last year. Like this is a big risk. Like I was just in the NWSL. This was like my dream to play in the NWSL. Like, is this the right decision? And it was like a really hard moment. And I had like days to make the choice. It was like, I knew I was going to leave Chicago in the mid-season point, had to like, went home for the NWSL break. And like, my dad and I were like driving to Chicago to pick up my stuff to drive to Lexington 3 days later. And so it was kind of just like a trusting the process moment and getting to like come in here and then still having to remind myself that like, even though it felt like I was in this new situation, I had to give myself the grace to like really have that rookie season because being in Chicago, I think I had 4 appearances and they were mostly like garbage minutes in the end of games. So just getting to like really allow myself, I've always had a high bar. I've always wanted to contribute from the jump and then also figure out kind of how to balance that with letting myself make mistakes and learn and go through that. And the coaching staff in Lexington was great with that. My teammates were great with that. And I think I had to remind myself at times, like I'm still young, I'm still figuring this out and I still have a long way to go. And so that also kind of builds into like some of my excitement for this year is like, I feel like that was really truly my rookie season. And so kind of like getting to build on that now and continue to prove myself and just put my head down and work hard because I know that's gotten to me where I am and will get me to whatever is here and beyond and the rest of my career. And so just taking advantage of that all. But yeah, that's kind of like my convoluted long story about like how
I love it.
I am in the story of kind of like that transition and why I think it's like so important to tell everyone that asks, just because I feel like it's such a good example of like, you'll never have a more exact plan of like playing for the same coach at 2 clubs and being in a completely different circumstance to show you that like, it's not always, you know, you or it can be bigger than that you're not working harder, that you're not good enough. Like sometimes you're just not in the right room. And so I think that that's a good example of that.
No, thank you for sharing that with us. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now you got like legend status in Lexington. So
for sure.
Man.
Everything works out the way it's do as hard as it can be at the moment.
Yeah, definitely did. And we're stoked to have you here. I mean, that goes for all the team. Like it's so cool. And like I think I told Allie this, and like we mentioned this, Allie, like it meant the world for us to get that championship last year and just to see a team of ours just completely dominate in a league. Because before that point, man, being a Lexington fan, you've had to have some like tough skin to get through the seasons, you know, and it takes a while because we're a young club. And so, you know, you don't always experience success or those easy seasons very quickly. You know, it's usually, you know, it takes a while before everything settles and we get an identity and all that. But to get a championship, Players Shield, you guys get all those individual accolades all in the second season after having a really tough first season. We were like, what the heck just happened? Are we all dreaming right now? And,
Gods
you
have
know,
righted everything for you guys.
right. And then you guys like coming back, like so much of the team coming back for round two, it like, you know, and I'm sure like this is going to come off like there's a lot of pressure, but I think it's important for us to say that like the fans don't view it as like, you know, they better win. It's just like, man, we're so happy to have them all back playing for us, because I think so many of the fans that we've spoken with, and I know we feel this way as well, it's more than just the accolades that you guys earn. Like everybody truly just enjoys you all's personality and approach and care that you present when you're out there on the field and when you're off the field. And, you know, we say this all the time on the pod, like we'll take a whole team of just cool people that try their best for our city over a million titles. And you guys have done both.
Yeah.
And that's kind of irreplaceable. So just looking forward to this next season. I know everybody's extremely hyped, just even having you guys all back and coming to represent our city for round two. And I think that needs to be said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think we all feel the same. And I think that's why so many of us are back, is like, it's such a great group to be a part of. And I think that, like, I'm sure there were girls and people that had other offers, but like to leave somewhere like this where you're in such a great environment surrounded by such amazing people that really do make you better, it would be a hard sell. And I think even some of the girls that have left, like, it's a hard place to compare to. So the bar is high once you leave Lexington, for sure.
And we're definitely doing our part to make sure we pack the stables for you guys. Because like you said, those winter months, it was hard to convince people. I'd be like, hey, guys, you want to come sit in the rain with me when it's 30 degrees? And they're like,
yes.
I would love to, but I would not. And I'm like,
layers.
I'm like, maybe that would be like a good, like, we got to do like the long sleeve hummel. I have like the main Hearts of Pine one that's the long sleeve. I'm like,
oh yeah,
cool. Like, we got to get like the black kit and like a long sleeve or something for this winter. Like even the November, December. I did throw that out there. I don't know if it'll come to fruition, but
that would be absolutely sick. That's for sure. I know, you know, going into the season though, like they sent out the link for the free tickets for that game later in the month, and I sent that email out to like my whole work. I was like, hey everybody, you got to come to this game.
No excuse.
Like make sure you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like walking around handing out like codes to people, but like, here, follow this link, and like, who are you, mister? And I'm like, doesn't matter. I'll see you at the stadium.
I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, for real.
So, go ahead, Dylan.
No, I was gonna ask a question, but it's kind of like two questions, but it's mostly you'll answer it the same way. But do we have a rival yet, and who would you say that is? And then also like any upcoming matches that fans should have circled. So I guess that's kind of the same question, you know?
Yeah, I think like for me, having been here only last year, like Carolina and Jacksonville would come to mind. Just I think in terms of the battle for the titles last year, and I think that will come back hot this year. And I know like there was a video on Carolina's socials a couple weeks ago of them asking them what games they're excited for, and like every single one of them said playing us. Like, I'm sure that we've got a target on our back from both of those teams. So I think like those will definitely be some of the most heated rivalries, at least on paper this year. So I think like for me, I think those will be exciting games and huge games for us to like continue to defend our title and continue just to defend like our home field in this club and all of that. I think that's kind of the biggest ones off the top of my head, at least from having been here last year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of fans would agree with you. I know like we all felt some type of way about Spokane because they would always give us so much trouble. But then, of course, there's the whole unfortunate situation with them dissolving, which it really is such a bummer.
I mean, we would have loved to play them again. I think we felt the same way you guys did, but obviously wouldn't have wished the way that played out on anyone. But
absolutely, you know, and we don't want to take up a ton of your time because we know it's valuable, but I am also just curious, your thoughts on, like, I've heard that our club and our players in particular were pretty instrumental in getting this current CBA in place for you guys. Like, what does that mean to you as a player to know that you guys were a part of that and kind of helping get the ball rolling and making something a little bit more tangible as far as making sure you guys get professional rights and all the things that you deserve as professionals going out there and, participating in your craft?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly insane. So I think like more and more will come out on this too as like the deal gets potentially ratified later this month. So without saying too much, I think
Sure.
the group of us that worked on the CBA as players, like it was just such an insane and surreal process to be a part of. Not only just learning so much about like how the league worked and how every aspect of it plays off of each other, but just understanding more and more like where both for us and the men, like going through that process kind of simultaneously, like where the shortcomings were and where like we could make big strides and how to, we talked about it as like picking up the rock and moving it forward and knowing that like things aren't all going to be perfect tomorrow, but how far can we move it and know that when the CBA finishes, like we'll have the chance to pick it back up and continue moving. And that's kind of like the essence of collective bargaining. So getting to do that. And again, I'm sure this will be public anyways, that Allie and I both worked on it in extensive amounts, like hundreds of hours over the last year. So kind of getting to see this come to this point of getting to a deal and hopefully eventually ratifying it before or during season this year and getting to kind of know that we had a hand in improving those standards and learning so much about the process and some skills that we'll take with us into everything else that comes next and whether we'll be here for the next CBA or not, knowing that we moved that rock was such a cool process. And just like you said, to know Lexington played a big role in that is we had three. Justina Gaynor also worked on it while she was here before she went to DC. So just even the fact that we had players like that interested in being a part of it is really cool. So
I think that's awesome because it's so much bigger than just the individual. And obviously, individuals will benefit, but like big picture, making sure that, women participating in women's sports are getting the things they deserve as professionals is such a big thing. And, I know that so many people appreciate that. Is that Sally making an appearance? Sorry. serious conversation. We saw a dog. We had to acknowledge Sally. Yeah. But no, that's so awesome that you guys got to be a part of that and like you said, move that rock forward. Because again, as you mentioned, it's a constant process. It's not like you make a CBA and then it's done and then everybody's happy and runs off and gets what they deserve. And like it's constant year upon years, just ratifying, getting closer and closer and closer, and then figuring out like, okay, well, maybe we need to reinvent this. And then you start moving a new rock, but you're still trying to achieve those same goals of making sure everybody is respected as professionals. So yeah, kudos to you all for all that hard work.
Yeah, it's exciting for the whole league and for the men to be getting there for theirs too. And that process that was as well. So
absolutely. You've been extremely gracious with your time, Kat. We have absolutely adored having you with Lexington Sporting Club. We are so grateful that you've been on here with us and that fans can hear more from you, because I know the fans can't get enough of hearing from any of you. Like it's just constantly like, what's going on with the women's team? What are they up to? Who you guys going to interview next? And so it's really awesome to have you on here.
I want to know, does your dad know that you're recording with us? Because I know he's a big fan of the podcast. So
it's so funny. I was going to tell you guys that too. I was going to say that this is going to like make his week that I'm on the pod.
All right, so
sweet. Did you hear that they like said this or this? I'm like, what? Did it dropped an hour ago? Like you've already listened to it? And he,
he's the one midnight play that I see on there.
He's at work. Probably not. Works crazy hours and stuff. So he's probably like the first 5 a.m. like always have his coffee, like listen to the pod. So we were joking about that. We were talking the other day too. I think last year, like you guys, my parents like hear it before I even do. They're like, oh yeah, they said that like need to get brighter cleats like last year.
That was me.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was like I had bought new cleats like before that happened, and like whatever. It was just like funny. And they're like, they think that you changed your cleats. They heard you on the pod. They like think they made fun of you or something. And I'm like, no. It's just funny. But I'm like, how do you guys hear this stuff before me? Like, I see them every week. You're like, how do you know? And they're like, it's on Crane Kicks. And I'm like, it dropped an hour ago. How do you already know what happened to the pod? So that's always
That's so funny.
I shouldn't have said anything to him and should have just seen how long it took him to tell me. But
it's fun.
Listening.
Now it'll be skewed because it'll absolutely be on there immediately. Yeah, because
totally.
by the time I get it processed and uploaded, it's like late at night, and I just happen to like sometimes it will like look to make sure it like uploaded correctly, but it always shows me listens or views, and I'm like, who just listened at midnight? What was
yeah.
Cat Berry's dad, true super fan. I love it. That's awesome. Cat, we're not going to take up any more of your valuable time. You're so awesome. And we're excited for this coming season. As abbreviated as it is, I know that we're all psyched to be able to run around being like, did you know that our club is the only club that won the championship twice in the same year? And then we're like, what? So we'll do our part to get fans out and be loud and make sure that we're giving you guys all the energy we can from the stands. And I can't wait for you to score 40 goals in between August and December.
Record-setting year.
100%. All right, Kat, thank you again. Hope you have an awesome night. Bye, Sally.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks, weekend.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be there. We're ready.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Man, that was awesome.
Speaking of, Kat's amazing. Super excited to have her back. And like we mentioned, we have so much of the like the 18 from last season returning. Obviously some new faces, but we have so many people returning. It's super exciting. And at the home opener, kids under 12 get in free. So how can you not? Yep. And then the next home game after that, Tyler, like you mentioned, is free admission. So like there's just no excuse. There's no excuse to not come cheer on these amazing women.
It is important that everybody not just show up with their kids, though. There's like a Google form that you have to fill out on the link. So don't just show up randomly and be like, this is my son, and you hand him a piece of paper saying, I am not 12. Like, go on the Google form and submit your kids' names and how many you bring in and all that stuff. I went and submitted mine. Supposed to get an email. I've not received my email yet, but I'm sure it's coming. Mine. Yeah, I'll have to look or holler at somebody. But you can't beat that. Kids under 12, that's pretty sweet to be able to get them in free. And that makes it, and I mean, it's awesome because I mean, sometimes I know like it's tough whenever you got a family of 4+ and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a lot of tickets I got to buy. Well, then here you just have to pay for the adults. And as long as you have kids 12 and under, you're set. So good shout out on that.
When you guys were younger, did your parents ever be like, my kid is this age to get you free into a place for something? Because my parents did that for me.
I was gigantic. I like early on, I grew really, really tall, really, really fast. So I was like a foot taller than every other kid. And so my mom would be like, he's 7. And they're like, no, he is 40. And I'm like, no, I am actually 7. And they're like, yeah, nice try, buddy. No, it never worked for my mom. She never even tried.
No, it was just funny.
Remember.
I was thinking like if my parents were going to this game, they would still try to be like, say you're under 12 to get free tickets. That's what they would do.
It's a fake mustache. Like, can't you guys tell? It's not even real.
I was growing facial hair in like 8th grade already. So like it was like my parents couldn't pull that like for that long. It's like I was already growing facial hair.
It's a tough pull, especially at some point. And you're just like, dang it. You know, although it like works pretty good. I've never done this, but like I've always told my wife, my youngest, like he's 4, but he looks like he's 2. He's so tiny. And I'm like, man, we could literally just be like, yeah, he's 2. And nobody would ever question it. He's just like pocket size.
Go to the zoo and he'll get in free.
Yes. Versus like my oldest, who's ginormous and like always has been. He's always been way bigger than kids his age. And I'm always like, yeah, this is how old he is. And they're like, he's bigger than a 6th grader. And I'm like, I don't know. Somebody's slipping him HGH, I guess. It's not me, but it's, I swear he is not that old. Yeah.
And one thing I just realized that's worth noting for the game that's free admission, that's the Saturday the 29th. The women's game is at 1, free admission, and it's a double header. So there's the men's game that evening as well. So like just
Yep.
I think I'd say just come and
Take a
tailgate
night.
and plan, yeah. And just be at the
Bring a
stables.
camper.
All day. All day.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do. I love that. That would be super, super rad. You know, it'd be like really cool is if they would let like the Railbirds have like a tailgating section in the paddock area that's kind of light just behind the Railbirds, like the supporters group seating. If it could be like actually in there.
Inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way
Which I
there's
know the club
bathrooms
has
and
to
stuff,
probably be
too.
careful with it, but that would be super neat if they found a way to make that happen. That'd be sick.
Mhm.
That'd be real sick. But anyway, you guys want to talk some men's soccer?
Sure.
A
Yeah.
little hard here. I mean, how can we not when things are going so good?
I was going to say it's not that much of a harsh transition because it's kind of like good into good.
Yeah, you know, and like I feel like the whole Lou City, New Mexico thing is just like a far away, foggy memory. It never even really happened. This is like we're on a little bit of a roll here,
Mm-hmm,
and
for
it's
sure.
nice. It is really nice. This most recent game against Phoenix, you know, Phoenix was kind of neck and neck with us in the table there whenever we went into this weekend. But when we get into that match, like we had the intensity, like we were bringing the heat. And like, I don't know what it was. Cause I mean, we've been doing really good about that, but like the intensity was definitely all the way turned up for the first like 15, 20 minutes. And then we did a good job of like leveling out and holding at a manageable intensity. And it paid off so well for us. Like, I mean, that's another Western Conference opponent that we managed to rack up points with. And I know like we were all super psyched because we were 4th in the table. But then by the time the weekend ended, we dropped again because the West is so stinking tight. Like, oh my gosh. Can you imagine if we were in the East? If we were in the East, we'd be kings. Like the East, I look at it and not to be a hater, but like you look at the Eastern Conference and you're like, what are they even doing? Do they even play soccer? There's like 4 teams that get points in the East, and everybody else is like, what is ball? How do cleat? And then when you look over at the West, and everybody's like, oh no, we're all scoring constantly, and we're just going to gain as many points as possible. And there's going to be an extreme amount of parity.
We're tied points with Louisville right now, and we have one less game played than them.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like going into the game, if you were like looking at the standings, you would see it and you would like, if you weren't looking at the points, you'd be like, oh, this is a no-brainer. We would win. There's a big gap. But when you look at the points, there was really no space in between. So it was a lot closer than you think. And then the game kind of played out that way too. Like, yes, we did have a ton of intensity, especially in the first 15, 20 minutes. We were on fire. We were crazy.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best starts I've seen from us in a really long time, I thought.
I mean, we were hot. I mean, honestly, we should have been up 2 more goals on them.
Yeah, for sure. That Firmino chance, I'm still thinking about, and I think he's probably still thinking about too. He should not have made that second touch. He should have just always just shoot on the first chance. Do not try to play with it.
Back. Well, like if there's a defender coming at you, sure, like see if you can shake him a little bit. But man, you know, Nick knew it. Like the moment he like got the ball at his feet and looked for somebody else, by the time he turned back, he's like, "Oh man, I should have shot." And I'm psyched that he still took his chance even after that. He you know didn't get the ball dispossessed. It wasn't something, but you know, Nick Firmino is one of those players where I feel like he does so good at so many things. But then he gets in those positions to shoot, and sometimes he freezes a little bit. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what has crawled its way into his brain to make him second guess himself. But I just wish he wouldn't. I feel like if he would not second guess himself when he's in front of goal with the ball, he would already have double the amount of goals that he currently has. Like he would do some damage. And that's such a shame. And I don't know if that's just like a him personally, like there's something that's a little bit of a roadblock, or if somebody somewhere got into his brain and was like, you can only shoot when it's a perfect chance. But man, I would love to see Nick in future games trust himself. Just trust himself to take those shots. And if he skies it, if it goes off the crossbar, if it gets saved, whatever, just brush it off. But it's super frustrating watching those like short hesitations that he tends to have in front of goal. And it's like, Nick, you should have shot, man. You should have done it. And there's a part of me that appreciates that he's like, is there somebody in a better space than me or has a better opportunity? Because I can see that's what he's trying to think. Sometimes you just have to, stay the course, shoot or shoot, right? And this isn't, putting the weight of world on him. It's kind of the reverse. I think that Nick is great and could be better if he just lets himself breathe in those moments. And I hope that he will. I hope that he finds that, and I hope there's somebody in that locker room or somebody that has his ear that's saying like, dude, shoot, it's okay. Like it's all good. Don't put so much pressure on yourself before you take those. But yeah, because I feel like we could have had at least one more goal on him.
He's got a Terry Boss inhibitor chip on his neck that's like preventing him from taking shots, Well,
something's up.
And he had that breakaway in the second half too. Was it? Was it the second half?
Yeah.
The first half.
It was the first half because they were coming this way.
That's right. That's right.
Towards us.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he had that breakaway too, where it's like,
to
I
draw
feel
the
like
foul.
Yeah.
I know.
Like if he had taken one less touch.
Yep.
And yeah.
Or even like, because I kind of see what he was doing, because that defender was making a solid run on him and trying to close off the second runner. And so I think he was like, I don't know if I can get it around him. So then it was like, well, let's try and get into the box. And then we're in the box, see if we can shoot or draw the foul, one or the other. But the defender was too clean and got the ball first, which was unfortunate. But there was part of me that's like, man, maybe just like change up your pace a little bit. Break him up. You know what I mean? If he's running toe to toe with you, see if you can kind of throw him off, put him on skates, and then see what happens. But sorry, go ahead, Jess.
Well, I was and because Goodrum was running with him too,
right?
Right. So it's like
in the center, yeah.
I feel like they could have. I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard when everything's bang bang, but
right.
Again, like he's not at fault for us not, winning, right? Because we won.
Yeah. We still won.
And yeah, exactly. And this isn't, like I said, again, a bash Nick Firmino session. I just feel like trust yourself, Nick. Trust yourself.
We believe in you.
Stop waiting. Stop hesitating, dude. Just let her rip, man.
Yeah, you just need a positive, like you said, Tyler. You need someone positive to tell him he can do it,
Right. Which is weird because Nick seems like he's a confident guy. Like he doesn't seem like he's somebody that, you wouldn't look at him and be like, I bet he second guesses himself a lot. But, who knows what's happened in trainings or in past games. And, you joke about Terry Boss, but I mean, we said this last episode too, like that was kind of a hallmark of last season. It was like, I don't know for a fact, but it was almost like the coaching staff had told the guys, do not shoot the ball unless you have like, a 3+ expected goal, like score. Like it has to be like really through the roof before you could take that shot. And I just feel like if they could shake that off and just go forward, then we'd be solid. But I mean, overall, it was a really stellar performance from us. Like Phoenix didn't really feel threatening that whole match. And, we controlled the whole thing. Like every phase of the game, it felt like we were doing our part and staying true to us. And, even when we interviewed Coach Mack afterward, he was like, yeah, it's about as close as we've been to playing a complete game of soccer in my mind. And I would have to agree with him. I thought that was really well done for us to go toe-to-toe against an opponent like that and not struggle. And I know, like, you could look at it and say, well, it was only a 1-0 win, but that doesn't mean that control isn't there. Same sentence. I mean, we didn't end up getting scored on, which was solid,
And they didn't technically get any shots on target.
Exactly.
Can we talk about the goal, too, between Berdilio and Ferry? Because they have so much chemistry together, and we asked Brow about it in the interviews, and he's like, "That's my dude," like that's my best friend, and it just plays out on the field, and
Mm-hmm.
just the give and go between them, the back
So
heel,
sick.
it's just like
And now it's up for goal of the
perfect.
week. And yeah,
It should be because
it
it's
should be.
disgusting.
And I think that they had to have been considering that in the process of choosing it for goal of the week. Like just the sequence between them was
Yeah.
just like it's so amazing. And we've said this before, but it's so amazing watching players that truly understand each other and
Mhm.
support each other play together on the field. Because when players support each other and understand one another, you end up with pretty soccer. And there's not a single game that Blaine and Brodilio haven't been on the field together that we've not had pretty soccer with them. Like
Mhm.
it's nice to look at. It's so fun. And like even when things don't work out, you're having a good time watching it. And I love that. I love that for us, and I love that connection that they've built between one another. And we're seeing the dividends pay off, right? It's just so cool to see that. We need a cool nickname for them. I don't know. We got to figure out some like duo nickname and then make it happen. Because it's official now. They're
Yeah.
like they're super bros.
And we were talking about this before too. Like Brodilio just uplifts everyone else on the team. Like Goodrum overall hasn't had the best season, but he's been playing better in recent games because
Mhm.
Brodilio's been back and Brodilio's been so
Yeah.
productive. And his ability to drop deep allows Blaine and Malloy to get up further and make moves, but Brodilio can also obviously get up and score goals and make those crazy passes. It's just he's so vital, and like literally you can pinpoint him being back in the lineup to like our trajectory of success.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been solid
Absolutely.
minus New Mexico and Sioux City. I mean, it's been real solid with him in the mix, and I know Coach Mack talked about wanting him to play a little bit more aggressively and further up the field versus dropping so deep. But I mean, I think we do solid when he does either. Truly,
Mm-hmm.
he is a player that was a really smart callback from his loan. Like, I mean, the loan in hindsight, brilliant to get him rolling, grease the wheels, let him take off, and then come back to us ready to go. And it translated great because sometimes it doesn't translate great, right? You send a player to another team, sometimes they ball out, they come back, and their rhythm's off when they get back to you because it's a different team, different system, whatever. That did not happen whatsoever with Brodilio. Like, it was okay. He's good. He's ready to go, and he's gonna, fire off. I think experienced that a little bit with like Medense. It's like for a little bit he was
Mhm.
hot, but then it kind of faded some. But
Mhm.
it's hard. It's hard because you're not going to experience success in every system with every group with every coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's been stellar for us. That game overall was super encouraging, though, even with it just being like a 1-0. It just feels yet again like we're getting there. We're getting closer. And with the season winding down, we need those. We need those wins to keep us just flowing towards the top. And right now, I mean, we saw how much the table shifted this weekend. It was just everybody was all over the place. Somebody would all of a sudden be in third, and then all of a sudden they'd be down in ninth. And like, it's said it before, the parity in the West is really there. And
Mhm.
it's gonna be tough for us to make sure that we close this out because it's almost putting more pressure in the sense that like you drop points, it's a very big deal with
Yeah.
how few games we have left. So you have to be on. But I don't know, and maybe it's just me, but I don't feel like the team is playing like they feel that pressure. I maybe might have suspected that after the New Mexico match, and I kind of, was like, oh, something wrong with us. But now that we've built up this set of point earning matches, it just seems like we're playing a lot better and a lot smoother. And I think that's what we're going to have to maintain. We're going to have to keep that level-headed mentality and not get too high or too low if we're going to make it through these last few games and lock down that playoff spot. Because, like I've said before, that right now, that's the bar. Like we need at least to earn a playoff spot. And we're trending there right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could not agree with you more in what you said. really encouraged to see our progress throughout the season and where we are currently. The lineup is pretty good.
Mhm.
I guess like there's some weird questions about like subs and stuff.
Like Ordonez not making an
Yeah,
appearance.
yeah. Ordonez not being
Yeah.
in. It's just really weird.
We
And
were talking about that. That was so strange.
and
Like
then
Javane was hurting.
yeah, I mean we had a clear view from our seats that
Yeah.
Javane had experienced some sort of an injury, if not like the worst cramp of all time, you know. And he was like trying to get called off. He was trying to tell Semele like, "Hey, dude, I'm peacing out," and Semele was like, "No, get your ass back here."
Here's the ball.
Yeah, kick the ball.
Yeah.
And
Javane's
then
like, what?
Hafferty gets subbed in, and we were like, "Oh, that's probably for." Oh no, that's not. And
Yeah.
you're like, wait
Yeah.
a second. But the sub thing, like if you look at the lineup, it's great, but don't pull back and look at the subs because I don't, you know, I shouldn't say that. We have like Tariq and Malik who I feel very very confident
Yeah.
in as well, but I just mean defensively, we're like it's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm in a position where like I'm just so curious about Ordonez. And like maybe Brown not getting subbed out was just like Mac and crew being like, look, man, we got more important subs to make. You can stick it out. I know that they cleated you in the heel, but we got to keep rolling with what we got because our game plan is for these people to pop in and keep the pressure on. So in that sense, I understand, but it does like make me question a little bit like, is Ordonez in the doghouse for some reason? Like,
Yeah.
because Javane was wincing like the rest of the entire match after
Yeah.
that happened, and he was noticeably slower, and so it seemed like he was hurting pretty good. And so I'm like, okay, why don't we just get a swap there? You know, and again,
Yeah.
I know there's also the element of coaches don't love subbing center backs. It's just not something that's done widely unless it's a severe emergency. So I'm curious about that particular situation, if there's more at play, or if it was just a simple, we got subs to see this out. You're just gonna have to tough it out for us, and let's make this happen. It was funny the Simile situation though, because like, you're right. Like literally, Javane was like, "Oh no, man, I'm going off the field." You can see him pointing to like Mac, like I'm getting ready to ask him if I can go off, and Simile's like, "No, I said you're taking the ball. Now kick it." And Javane's like, "I just hurt my foot," and Simile's kick the ball, Javane.
He basically
like, fine, man, whatever.
He did the Mortal Kombat Scorpion get over here.
Yeah. And just handed him the ball anyway. And Javane's like, all right, I'm just going to pass it over to Kendall.
Someone who can kick the ball.
Yeah, my foot hurts, man. Like, Simile cracks me up too, though, because, like, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but, like, I don't know if I've seen him smile. He's very
so
stoic. Yeah. Yes. Like, no
Mhm.
matter what's happening, like, another player will be cussing him out, and he's just, like, staring at them. And he like turns like, okay, it's time to punt the ball now. And I'm like, what's happening here? Like, is he an android? We gotta investigate. Is Oliver Simile an android from Germany? It's possible, but no, that was a funny situation in that match for sure. You know, yeah, just
go ahead, Tyler. I was
no, you're good.
Gonna segue asking over the next 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
Which of the next 5 games, like which ones do you think are going to be the most important to get points from?
All of them.
Well,
I hate to be that way.
Other than
like,
the obvious.
I know, but like I'm serious. I mean, I guess if I had to absolutely choose, we need to get back on New Mexico.
Yeah.
Because I think we need to prove like we can handle business with them. Because
for sure.
We need to leave no stone unturned and show that we can defeat as many teams as possible if we're going to go into the playoffs feeling good about ourselves. And, you know, you never want to go into the playoffs knowing that there is one team that you just could not figure out, because then that leaves the door open for other teams that you might face to look at that team and say, huh, what did that team do that gave Lexington fits? And then they replicate it. You know, because sometimes teams do that. Not all the time, because a lot of teams like to stay with their identity and stay the course. But there are ones out there that are more than willing to be a little bit more experimental and, you know, say, well, that was the kryptonite that they used against Lexington. Let's see if we can use that same thing. So I guess if I had to choose, it'd be New Mexico.
And for
Yeah, I'd
me,
agree.
yeah, definitely New Mexico. And I think another one where I would love to be, because every time we've played them, it feels like there's just some weird, like, juju, is Vegas.
Mm.
I feel like there's always just something weird that happens in the games against them that it's like, that just make us look terrible.
Yeah,
um,
I could see that.
yeah.
And we've not beaten them before. So, we've one draw and 2 losses against them all time. So
Yeah.
that's another good one to point out. That's for sure. Because
I'd just love to finally beat them.
yeah, no, yeah, 100% agree with you on that. Our last one was a loss, and then the one before that, yeah. So it's been a minute since we've even gotten a point off of them. April 12th of 2025.
Next game is really interesting to me. This Saturday against Sacramento at Sacramento. Sacramento's literally right underneath us in the standings. I just feel like they've kind of given us some fits sometimes.
And it's always been a stalemate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
2-0-0s, which is weird.
It's weird. Yeah.
Are they
So
are they the equivalent of the women against Spokane?
They might be. They might be.
it's
They
a
might be.
West Coast thing too. Traveling
Yeah.
out there.
That's true.
It's
They
an
have some of
11
our
o'clock
former players.
game. Who?
11.
Ajago
Yeah.
is out there.
Oh wait.
And then
Oh yeah.
didn't Midensay go out there and
Yes.
join up with them? So
Yeah.
Ooh.
yeah. And you said a bad word, Dylan. 11
What did I
o'clock
say?
game.
Oh, 11 o'clock game. Yeah.
I noticed that and I was like, oh my gosh.
Well,
That's
we'll
rough.
just,
Go
we'll
from the
be
women's
coming-
game.
Yeah.
To watch
We'll still be
party.
high off
yeah.
the women's game. So
That's true.
Yeah. And I'm not leaving the field. I'm going to tell them to put it on the big board. And they'll be like, you have to leave. And I'm like, but I'd really like to watch it on the big screen here. And you got a lot of beer hanging out.
if I hand off myself to the stands.
Yeah. I promise. Just give me the keys. I'll close it down when we're done. Now that's a good one too. Those man, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I know I was kind of being silly, but like kind of all of them though, just for those reasons. Like Las Vegas, we've struggled with. Sacramento, we can only get a draw against, it seems. New Mexico just beat the brakes off of us. Like we have to overcome each of these teams going forward. And we joked about this. Katie Beth gave me an earful. She was like, Tyler, I'm blaming you if this happens, because I said like the only team that I feel like feels kind of easy to go against is Jacksonville on their remaining schedule. So sorry if I did jinx us. Yeah, Katie Beth is going to shame me if we lose against them, and I told her absolutely deserved if that happens. But they still only have 8. Is that what you said?
They only have 8 points.
I mean, that's rough. That's rough. How
1
many games
win,
have they played
13
now?
losses, and
19
5
games
ties.
played.
9. Yeah, 19.
19 games played and 8 points.
How do they have a? Oh wait, never mind. They have a negative 28 goal differential.
That's pretty nuts.
That's an Atletico Madrid, territory.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, I feel bad dunking on them, but yeah, that's rough. You remember when everybody gave us all kinds of crap for being in 9th? And then here we got Jacksonville. And I feel like everybody leaves them alone. They're just like, poor Jacksonville. There was never poor Lexington. They're always like Lou City people showing up in the comments being like, that's why you suck. I'm like, okay. And now they're all crying because they're not top of the table in the East. And they're like, let's just sell the stadium. Why don't we? And I'm like, man, what a charmed life. Just to be upset with that current position, have the same number of points we have in one of the best seasons we've had in a while for the men.
Have they gained any points since you made your prediction? Probably not.
Ooh, Jacksonville?
Yeah.
No, that's what I was saying. I can't believe they're still only at 8 because that's what it was last time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got points. Their win was July 15th, and then they drew on July 18th.
Okay. So a little bit less than a month
ago. That
was
half of that. Those 2 games were half of their points.
Yeah. They even changed coaches, I think, didn't they? I feel like I saw somewhere they changed coaches, but that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
It was silly for them to join the championship right away. They should have just joined the League One and try to fight against Ford Madison and those clowns,
Yeah, for real though. Should have just waded into those waters and see what was up.
I know.
Oh well, they'll maybe have an epic comeback season next season, like we did with our Super League. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? It is what it is. But like, I do feel like even though these are all tough teams, and it was tough for me to choose like which one is like the game, it is cool because the club pointed this out. But we have the most points earned at home, which I know we're about to take some away trips, but that still is cool that we're capitalizing on those home matches because you really have to. That's where you want to pick up all your wins. So that way you have a little bit more wiggle room on the road, and then you can feel better about like we went on the road and we got a point, kind of like with Tulsa, right? You're like, I would have loved to win, but we were on the road. We snagged the point. We're solid, which is really impressive. And, they did point out too that this is the most points earned in an 8-match stretch in club history. So that's kind of given us an idea. And that includes that loss that's in the mix against New Mexico. So, the track, we're on it, right? Like we are firmly on this track to trying to be true competitors in the West. But once again, and not to like sound like doom and gloom, because I don't think it's a doom and gloom situation, but the pressure is kind of on. Like we truly are in a situation where dropping points is not going to be a preferable situation, right? You like sometimes each year you're like, we lost one, but that's okay. We got time to make it up. Our time is kind of getting a little short on us, and everybody's nipping at our heels or just right above us. And we got to make up some room, or we got to hope that they start stumbling here and there. But the West has been weirdly strong. I mean, I feel like it was last year, but
the rest of our games are all against West opponents, right? That we don't have any more.
Except for Jacksonville.
That's the only one.
Okay.
Yep. So we gotta see what we can do because everybody's just doing good. And I think that a good starting point is doing what we've been doing. I feel like week in and week out, it seems like the teams that we play are always either right above us or right below us, and we pull points off of them.
Yeah.
And we keep moving. And I think that's another important thing to point out is like, that's good. That's good. You're keeping those teams that are close to you at arm's distance every time you do that. And I think, if it comes down to the end of the season and we start talking about like tiebreakers or anything like that, it's going to start mattering, because we could find ourselves in some sort of situation where that really does mean something. And I think that that's solid for us to continue that. This weekend, we're going to be playing Sacramento. They're one level below us, but they're in 7th. We're in 6th. They've got 27 points. We got 28. We have the same number of games. This is good. Time is right for us to say, let's put this one to bed and not have any more draws against them. Let's get these 3 points. And I think the guys are fired up for that. And it's really going to, I hope, pay off.
Did you say we're in 6th?
In the West, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I could be messed up. Huh?
We're 5th, according to the USL.
Oh, USL's right. You're right. That's what I get. Darn it. I had FOTMOB pulled up.
Don't be taking.
I looked at that after you said that. And I was like, wait a second. That's not right.
How's FOTMOB wrong?
Sometimes whenever there's
maybe like because of games played, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, sometimes tiebreakers involved is messed up on FOTMOB. They don't always account for everything the USL does.
Based on the
rules. So
Sacramento still only has 1 point less than us.
Yeah.
And we have the same amount of games played. So
right. So in that sense, yeah, still the same idea, but definitely FOTMOB needs to fix that. We're 5th FOTMOB.
Yeah, we have a better goal differential than El Paso.
Write you an angry letter, FOTMOB.
Yeah.
Typing up the email right now. Yeah, I don't know. I feel good though. I feel good about going into this. I'm not sitting here saying that every match is for sure going to be a lockdown win. I think we're going to have some tough battles. We're probably going to see some shared points out of these next few games. But it's hard to say that I don't feel good based on what's currently been happening with our team. And I know it feels like a cop-out to say this, but I'm kind of taking the Lou City match out of the equation because no matter how you slice it, it was a separate competition, and that does matter because you don't really know what's going through people's heads whenever you're talking about like, well, this is for a separate trophy, because at the end of the day, everybody's probably primarily focused on the trophy as opposed to just being like, I want a giant gold Prinix tire I have a giant gold Prinix tire now. Look at my giant gold Prinix tire. I don't know, but vibe's good. Are you guys feeling good about this?
Oh yeah.
Are you worried about anybody? I know you said like tough games, but are you worried and you're like, ooh, that game might be a loss?
I mean,
New Mexico.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was gonna say that too. They are on a streak right now.
They're on a good
Mhm.
streak, like Jess just said, and it's an away match.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely my one. I'm like, that could be where we drop points, but we're not gonna do that.
be
Yeah.
happy with a
Go
draw.
out to the desert and come back with 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lock. We're set. Yep. Okay. Missing anything before we depart? Oh, I guess we could just mention. I don't think we mentioned this back with Kat or right after. But with the women's season starting this weekend in concurrence with another men's match, if anybody is curious, because I know it's kind of been floating around and people have been missing, we did beat UK women's soccer 3-0,
Oh
which
yeah.
is neat. So we had a match against them, which I think is really, really cool. I love that we keep doing that each season where we have like our little, exhibition match at the Bell against UK soccer. I think that's real neat. And then, especially because it's free, you could just go out there and then hopefully garner some more UK fans to come out. And I know that we have like Mars on the team now, and she played for UK, which is really, really cool to have her go back to the Bell and get to be there and experience that. But always grain of salt with these preseason matches. But we saw like our usual scorers on the books. Like it was Kat, Kinsey, and Addie. So it gives the vibe that they're in form still and they're ready to handle business coming into this weekend.
Just hearing those 3 names, it's like, yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, can I get a Sarah Griffith in there too? Like,
Yeah.
It's
right.
Yeah. It's real solid. So we'll see. I'm very curious going into this weekend. Of course, seeing what we do against Sacramento on the men's side. On the women's side, I'm wondering what we're going to do with our lineup. That's my big question mark. Are we going to see the exact starting lineup? Are we going to see somebody that's new break into the starting 11? Obviously, keeper wise is answered for us. You already know there's going to be somebody new there, but yeah, I don't know. I have some suspicions about the midfield, but
Yeah.
could be wrong. Who knows?
Do you think the starting keeper will be Ryan Campbell?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be Ryan Campbell. I think Mars
Yeah.
is probably GK2, Campbell GK1. So I think that's probably a pretty safe bet to make.
Yeah,
for us. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see about the midfield. I'm very curious there because I could see if we make any sort of change, it might be there. Might be wrong. You never know. But
did Katie Murray get consistent minutes with Spokane? Honestly, I didn't pay that much attention.
I think she did.
Yeah,
So,
she got pretty decent minutes with them. So
I could see her possibly being brought into the mix as far as like the starting lineup.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Her Perry, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's high hopes for Perry, and I know everybody's like, well, yeah, because like she was with Juventus, but I think it's more than that. I think that she's just got a lot of quality, and she's one of those players that you kind of look at and you're like, I know there's not a lot of data outside of her collegiate play, but she just seems like the type that it's going to have a pro breakout, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, that's Sally Perry.
So, side note, and I don't want to read too much into this, but looking at the roster on the website, Sarah Griffith isn't in the new star kit in her roster picture.
She was pictured in a.
She was in a recent picture.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not reading too much into that.
I think she was at media day and everything.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Well, I don't know what's up with that then.
Don't be scaring us like that.
I know.
Don't do that. Don't put that out there. All right. We should have you should have brought that up when Kat was on here, and you could have said blink twice if Sarah is safe. And now we'll just have to like sit at home like all night wondering if Sarah's still with us. I'm sure she is.
I know it's we're getting into long episode territory, but I am curious, do we have any other predictions as far as starting lineup?
I would assume basically the same minus keeper and maybe whoever's paired with Taylor Almer. I could see whoever's paired with Taylor Almer being a question mark because it does seem like we brought in a lot of midfielders.
Yeah.
And I thought Daria did great for us in that last little bit of the season when she joined us. But it does feel like maybe there could be a battle there. I don't know. That's the only spot that I'm really like, who knows? And I guess there's a chance too that, we start seeing a little bit more of that rotation out on the wings too, like we did last season, where it was like, who's going to be our starting winger for both sides? Yeah. And you just see like, oh, well, now it's, this combination or this. So I think striker solid. I think Taylor Almer is probably locked down. Our back line, I don't really see why you'd swap that around.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it would be the rest of the areas of the midfield that I'm curious about. And I don't know if I can really make a solid prediction, to be honest with you, because I feel like there's a case to be made for a lot of these players that we brought in for challenging for those spots.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, I still feel like we haven't seen enough from Amber as well.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, she could break at any moment and, see more time. And I think she has a lot of talent. I love her speed that she brings.
Yeah.
She's
so quick.
extremely fast. And her with Kenzie would be, a great pairing. But then, that's maybe taking off Sarah Griffith, and I don't even want to do that because I think Sarah Griffith is so important to the lineup, and I love her game so much. So I mean,
absolutely,
it's really
She's
hard.
So scrappy.
It's really hard. We have a great team. We have a great lineup. So
never know. And there's really not a long season to experiment either. That's kind of the crazy part. You don't have a lot of wiggle room to kind of figure things out. So it kind of gives me the impression that minus one or two tweaks that could happen or already have happened, they'd kind of be silly to deviate from what we basically had rolling last season because our runway is so incredibly short. But you never know. You get in preseason and some people ball out and impress, and then there you go, because I mean, like with Allie Brown, I heard that she really impressed in one of our exhibition matches, and then all of a sudden she's a starter. So winds change fast.
That's true. Also, I was looking at speaking of the women's schedule, there are 3 games that are free admission for the women.
I love it.
August
I love it.
29th, October 17th, and the fan appreciation night and the last home game, November 13th, are all free admission. That's nearly half of the women's home games are free admission. Like, how do, like, we've got to get people, there's no excuse.
Yeah. And we said it a lot, like for last season, if they had just offered some free admission games at the beginning when we were already really good and kind of like working strongly together, I think things would have been better for the remainder of the season attendance wise. So I think after winning a championship, winning everything else that we won, plus them doing this kind of early on, I'm very hopeful that we have good turnout. We better.
Yeah.
Like people got to quit just showing up for the championship games and go for the remainder.
Right.
It's kind of like UK volleyball. Like everybody all of a sudden around the time that they're like sitting there in the tournament, they're like, oh yeah, I follow UK volleyball all the time. I'm like, no, you didn't. You started watching when they were in the tournament. Like be a fan the whole way. If you're going to support them from start to finish. And so I hope we see more people try their best to at least keep up with the team and come to a few matches here and there. And, obviously the free ones are important. But I think if we can get some people to come to the paid ones as well, that'll prove to the league, the club, whoever needs that validation that people want quality women's soccer here in Lexington. So we got a great team. Team.
Yep.
Nice. All right. All has been said. Long episode, but that's okay. Good episode.
But we got to talk to Kat. So
exactly. everybody turned off as soon as like Kat left. They were like, nope, not listening anymore. So everything for the last like 40 minutes just off in the ether. At least we got to say it to each other, right? No, hopefully everybody made it this far, even if it took you 2 weeks to
Kat's
listen.
dad, we know at least Kat's dad is listening.
Let's go, Kat's dad.
Shout out.
It's my guy. If we ever have CKL jerseys, you'll get one. No, but I'm excited. This weekend's going to be great. Doubleheader, even though not at home, doubleheader still 2 doses of LSC soccer. Get to go to the stable, support the women, get to stay up, smash in Monster Energy drinks to stay up to watch the men's team
Get your
win
coffee
in Sacramento. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I don't want to put this out there, but I have to say it because it's already in my brain, and you guys are just gonna have to deal with it. I just hope it's not like back in the day when we'd go out to Tulsa. Not Tulsa. What am I thinking? Whoa, losing my mind. Tucson. When we go to Tucson and we'd have all of those rain and storm delays, like those monsoon delays that would make the games delay until like 1:30 our time. Yeah, and then it would pick back up at 1:30 our time, and I'd be like sitting there. And my wife would come out and be 3 a.m. She's like, "Are you watching a replay of the game?" And I'm like, "No, this is the live feed. Just leave me here now." So, luckily Sacramento's not known for those severe situations. Anyway, I digress. Everybody, make sure you come out, support the women for the home opener. We gotta get those stands filled. And like, gosh, you don't even have an excuse now. You can't even be like, but it's a brand new team and I don't know any of them. This is our championship winning team back in action for round 2. Just be there. Be there. Come sit with us in the supporters section. If you want to be loud and be amongst other people who like cheering, if that's not your jam. Of course, the other sections are pretty solid as well. But no matter what, support the women. That way, everything's good. We can keep quality women's soccer here in the Bluegrass. So, any final thoughts? Perfect. You already know what it is. Come on, you Greens.